Welcome to Cold Hard Trash CRT episode 17. I'm your host, Trashcan Jones.
And I'm Breeeeg, your fellow host.
And this episode, I don't have a lot planned. Like I said, I only written the one note down. I wonder how far it can go with it. It's about comedy in general. So I think it's because it's a vague-ish kind of note. So I've wanted to have different jokes and different comedic bits punctuated with a gun. Like, someone's coming to check your smoke detectors. Oh, I got your smoke detector right here. Chick, chick, and you cock the gun. And it's like, that's funny. And, but I feel like when you bring in a fake gun, like it's just a plastic little, like, Nerf one, you're like, oh, I got your smoke detector right here, and cock it, it's less funny.
You need to have a real gun.
Right, you need the real gun, but at the same time, it's a real gun. So the main question is, how do I bring more real guns into comedy without it being without lowering the danger amount?
Well, blanks.
Yeah, blanks are still pretty dangerous, though. You can hurt yourself with it. Oh, shit. I just realized, too. Did you start recording video?
No. I was, started the thing, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Pause for 1 second. All right, and we're back. Got the video up, because we definitely remembered to do it.
I remember it was like an old 1,000 Ways to Die thing. It was a guy, a magician, who was doing a whole bit where his assistant shot him with a gun.
Yeah, he catch the bullet in his mouth.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
And apparently he tapped on the edge of the gun to do some magic stuff with it, and it tapped some powder into the barrel from the end of his little wand, and that supposedly shot out and killed him.
Just a little bit of powder? How did that kill him?
I don't know. High velocity.
Yeah.
It's like a 1,000 Ways to Die thing. I don't know how true most of those things are. But.
Yeah, that's true. I remember Brandon Lee. That's how he died. Was sort of
just live ammunition.
Well, yeah, it wasn't live ammunition. So what they did for that specific scene was they had a shot where they were looking, one of the bad guys was holding a revolver kind of to the camera, because it was from a POV, it's supposed to be from him. And obviously, when you can look at a revolver from the front on, you can see the bullets. So if you load blanks into there, you'll obviously know they're blanks. So what they did was they put real-looking bullets, but with all the gunpowder removed. But I guess one of the bullets in there still had very trace amounts of it. So when the guy was like, running around clicking, all the bullets kind of cycled through with none of them firing except one that had the very smallest amount of pop and shot it like a quarter of an inch forward and just got it stuck in the bullet. And no one realized. He emptied out the things, got to the next scene where it's going to be more shooting from behind, where he just put blanks in the gun. So he can pop off and he'll actually have the shots going, bang, bang, but it's just going to be blanks because you don't have to see it from the front at that point. And because there was already that little...
There's an actual bullet in there with actual gunpowder behind it.
Right, with the actual force of the blank, even though it wasn't a full, because I think it's like quarter of a gunpowder bullet they put into blanks, even just that was enough to launch the bullet and hit Brandon Lee in the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't realize, even for I think it was 5 or 10 minutes, that he was actually shot, and too late.
Oh, man.
Couldn't get him to the hospital in time.
Yeah, that amount of... I mean, I don't know if that 5 or 10 minutes would have made a difference, but
yeah,
it's
at that point.
Always sad.
Yeah. It was the one and only movie he ever acted in was The Crow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're making another one.
They
right?
made another one. Yeah. Sucks.
Okay.
Big downfall. It was... The original one was based off a comic book, and you can tell was a lot more superhero kind of oriented, dark hero. Then this new one was just kind of a fun fest from all the clips I've seen and all the reviews I've seen. I haven't seen the movie in full, but I've seen lots of clips of it and just been... I got the picture.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, it's not great. Not a great retelling of it. The Crow is another one, though. Uses a lot of guns for comedic effect. Real guns and comedy go hand in hand, and I feel like there needs to be more ways of making that safe. There needs to be more use for that. I don't know.
Just put bulletproof glass.
Might make that a standard. Well, I say just make it a standard everywhere.
Not to keep me safe. This is to keep you safe.
Yeah, just in case we got an accident going on.
Yeah,
I think
point it directly at an audience member and click, click, click.
we should just make it bulletproof glass more standard, though, in all the homes, so that people just wanting to pop off, making a joke like, I got your smoke detectors right here, bang, they shoot the window, and they don't have to worry about it.
Also, the smoke detector. Why the smoke detector?
That was just a very, very specific thing, because we had an inspection here at the apartment. We had to get our smoke detectors checked, and I made the joke where I got this smoke detector they could check right here.
I was losing if it was like a non sequitur or like there was a connection why this is the smoke detector.
Well, no, it was just that specific example. Like, for any other, it could be anything, though. Like, oh, can I see your ID? Like, oh, I got your ID right here. And then you pull out the gun. Like,
okay.
A little more menacing, but still pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, can I get extra mayo on that sandwich? I got extra mayo right here. And you pull out the gun.
Shoot the sandwich. Completely destroyed.
That'd be so good. It's just like it's like a Tim Robinson sketch where like this guy in like a leather jacket and sunglasses like making the sandwich. Can I get extra mayo? He like turns around like, I got your extra mayo right here, and just shoots the sandwich in slow-mo.
And then you have to make another one.
Yeah. Well, if the customer doesn't want it, then yeah, if they request it.
Yeah.
I mean, customer's always right.
Of course.
But then it just becomes a thing of like, what's going to make this guy shoot the shotgun? Because he made your whole sandwich and it was only the extra mayo, or he just turned around and blasted it. So it's just like you got to play the game.
Well, at least, in this alternate world where guns are used in comedy all the time, everyone would be like used to it, right?
Right,
like,
yeah. We need to desensitize
the
people to it a
responsible
little
gun
more.
owner on the other side of that counter. Never pointed at a person. Just shoot sandwiches and shit.
This is going in a horrible direction.
Well, I mean, I honestly think this joke wouldn't have even come about unless we were American.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. There definitely doesn't need to be more gun violence, but maybe more gun comedy.
Yeah,
if we can...
It'll cure the world.
Right, yeah, maybe more gun comedy lowers gun violence. We never know. We never tried.
I mean, there's that episode of Always Sunny with Frank having a gun.
Anyways, I started blasting. It's literally comes like the thing of like I think Dennis and Dee trying to buy a gun. Like they can't buy one legally because they have these ridiculous like they have to go through the background checks and they have these ridiculous pass. So they try to buy one illegally, but they're too scared to, so they just keep getting ripped off. They're just like, God, the only thing that stops bad people with guns is a good person with a gun. We need more guns. And they just completely flip on like trying to get guns off the street to like, we need more guns now. It's a good episode.
Perfect. You saying the whole like, I got your extra mayo right here, I got your smoke detector right here, reminds me of a bit of from a long time ago, where you know how it's like, I'm gonna teach you a lesson, my old friends like Fisty and Puncho or something like that.
Yeah.
The whole idea is just like good combinations of names for fists.
Yeah, I forget what the Anchorman joke was. It was like Jack Johnson and Earl Grey or something like that.
I like Simon and Garfunkel.
It's pretty good.
Good fist names. I don't know, Benadryl and melatonin, knock you out.
Put you to sleep. Yeah, that's pretty good. NyQuil and ZQuil, same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hit you with the ZQuil. Well, yeah, but NyQuil, I guess, is like for nighttime, whereas ZQuil is specifically for sleeping. So, like, one is drowsiness, whereas I don't know. How do you like induce drowsiness, but don't induce sleeping?
Well, the whole thing is like the cold medicine sort of has like drowsiness as a side effect. So they're just like, oh, we'll lean into that, I guess. NyQuil. But then ZQuil is probably like, okay, we're gonna actually include sleeping medicine in here as well. Put it a step further, and that's why DayQuil is an important distinction, because they did something to make it non-drowsy.
Interesting. Yeah, probably.
And if you have NyQuil and DayQuil, you just get quill.
You just drink some quill. It cancels out. Nothing happens to you.
If you have ZQuil and DayQuil, you probably still fall asleep. You get drowsy, something like that.
Have you ever seen like the old-timey bottles of like 1920s cough medicine? It's just like 30% methamphetamine, 20% cocaine, 15% alcohol. It's just can't be sick if you're just fucked up.
Yeah, the classic. You have ghosts in your blood. Here's a Here's a prescription for meth.
Yeah, go do cocaine about it.
Yeah.
That's classic.
And also that I'm pretty sure that was like the actual original recipe of Coca-Cola did include
Cocaine.
Yeah.
Coca leaves. It was actually, I think it was, I watched a Weird History food video. It was made as like a coca wine. And then during Prohibition, the first Prohibition, during Temperance, the Temperance movement, they had to remove the wine from it. So he started experimenting with different things and landed on cola. So it became, instead of Coca wine, Coca-Cola. And then after that, it became just like a really popular thing. Yeah.
Also, wasn't it like a green color or something like that?
That I don't know. Coca wine made of, but Coca-Cola was always brown. Cola is brown in nature. It's made from that syrup.
So you got... I mean, classic Coke refers to the regular soda. So I don't even know how you'd refer to the oldest. Like a...
I think even it's a...
Evil Coke?
Evil Coke. I think it's a thing nowadays that Coca-Cola is still like the only company in the U.S. that's able to use coca leaves. Like whatever medicine or medical company that extracts them for like medical cocaine, they give them to Coca-Cola, like the extracted leaves that have nothing in them, to use in their secret formula.
Oh, wow.
So there's probably no cocaine in it, but the coca leaves are still part of it.
If it came out that there was cocaine in it this whole time still, like...
They never patented the formula.
You have
no
to
one
change
knows.
some laws, man.
I wonder what the law is on that. If you don't patent or copyright the formula to where like nobody can steal it and you don't, like nobody can know it, kind of like Coke does, do you still have to disclose it to somebody like within the government to make sure you're not just poisoning people and like putting cocaine in your drink?
Well, I mean, you have like the FDA, right?
But so does someone in the FDA
probably,
know
like,
the
test
recipe
it.
of Coke? Or do they
You could test
all
the final product, right?
Yeah, I guess if it just passes the test, you really don't. But that's the thing. Is it really like, oh, we're not going to ask then, as long as it's fair? Like, I feel like they would go over every step. Like, somebody out there not in Coke has to know the Coca-Cola formula just because, like, to make sure it's not crazy.
Well, there were those, like, I'm pretty sure I heard back in, like, high school or, like, late middle school of, like, some guys stealing the formula and then trying to sell it to Pepsi, and then Pepsi said, no, we don't want it.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you just came out, like, if you're Pepsi and you're just like, hey, we now are selling Coke.
We make Pepsi C.
Yeah.
Pepsi.
Like, that's not, like... People will probably still... Unless you're, like, just undercutting Coca-Cola, like, every step of the way.
Yeah, the competition is always good. Competition is like makes for the healthy market. If Coca-Cola was undercut in any way, then Pepsi would probably maybe gain a little bit of market share, but the market share they'd probably lose would be not worth it.
Well, why would they lose?
Because eventually, I guess, something else would probably come up now, because other people would be able to mimic the Coke formula after them, and then...
I mean, if they keep it hidden.
Yeah.
It's not like you bring it... It's not like Pepsi's like a... like a newspaper or something that they were trying to sell it to. Trying to sell it to another cola company. But
That's
the main
true.
thing is that there are people out there that prefer Pepsi, right?
Yeah, my
so
mom's
like
one
that's
of
the
them, or was
whole
one of them.
thing is that why would they try and make Coke when they have their client
Right.
base, their consumers?
And whatever legal hassle that may come of actually buying a Coke recipe from some dude that stole it. Like some guy
it's
in a
not
ski mask.
patented, and
Guy in a ski mask and like stripes with a sack over his back says, "Hey, I got the recipe for Coca-Cola." It's like, of course you turn that guy in. What, I think of a fucking crazy person.
They should have taken it, not made Coca-Cola, but just put in the patent for it.
So Coke can't make it anymore. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, like, totally, I don't know, corporate owning. Be like, ha, gotcha, bitch.
Would that...
Can't make Coke anymore.
See, I feel like that would hurt Pepsi's public image, though. If they literally, like, killed Coke, then I feel like, people who don't drink
You
Pepsi
have
wouldn't be
someone else
forced
do
to
it.
drink Pepsi. Yeah, true. True. I feel like if Coke was gone from the market, then people wouldn't just, like, eventually go to Pepsi. I feel like they'd disperse elsewhere. I feel like Pepsi still wouldn't win in that scenario.
No, they're different products. I mean, they're both colas, but...
Pepsi Cola.
Yeah. And I think I've had more flavored Cokes than I've had flavored Pepsis.
Yeah, they've only recently started experimenting with like peach Pepsi and orange Pepsi. They had cherry Pepsi for a while, which was a banger, but so
Yeah.
is cherry Coke. So you really can't.
They got cherry Coke, cherry vanilla Coke.
Yeah, vanilla Coke's
orange
good
Coke,
too.
lime Coke, raspberry Coke.
Not too crazy about those. I like the lime a little bit. Lime was something that came and went. I remember especially in Diet Cokes. They had that like back in the early 2000s. Maybe in regular Coke too, but I just remember the commercials for Diet Coke.
Do you think that New Coke was a like guerrilla marketing tactic?
Did you? I've talked to you about the YouTuber Lemon before, right? But you never watched him?
I don't think I've seen him. No.
Oh, he has a video on New Coke, and I probably don't recall any of the facts from it, like 100% right. But what I remember the gist of it was, was that New Coke was an attempt to like basically make Coke at a cheaper rate because one of the ingredients of it was not going to be like economically feasible to keep making it at or something like that. So it was something they just tried to introduce and tried to push pretty hard, like guerrilla marketing style, because they were looking to ditch the old Coke, as if like, they were trying to make this like, oh, this is the cool new thing. Old Coke is boring, and then people rebelled against that so hard that they had to backtrack.
Well, I was saying guerrilla marketing in the sense of they changed the recipe to drive up demand for their original product. But
potentially,
to me, it doesn't sound like that's the case.
It
But
could
that
potentially be. I
was
mean,
the accusation.
Right. I was gonna say, I think the video made it seem like potentially that's what at least Coke wanted to make it seem like they wanted to make this new formula the new thing. But that could have been like secretly, the plan. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna make it seem like we want to make this the new thing so that people like revolt hard. Who knows? Maybe they're playing the 3D chess. Yeah. I don't remember if they brought that part up, because you saying that it makes me feel like I've heard it before, but it's a good point.
It might have been the plot of the new Slurm episode of Futurama, or not. I don't remember that episode very well.
Futurama had a new season, that's right.
No, yes, but this was like an older episode.
Oh, okay. I thought they made another Slurm episode. Yeah, the original Slurm.
Yeah. Well, I think they made a couple of them, because I remember there being a reference to New Coke in the main Slurm episode, or one of the Slurm episodes, where they came out with new Slurm. I think they replaced the Queen or something.
Yeah, maybe. I'm now remembering that. I've only seen one of them. Then it must have been the original, Slurm's Mackenzie.
Yeah. So, a couple weeks within the past couple weeks, I came home, and I walked inside, and then I was looking for my phone, and I was like, wait, I don't have it. And then I went back out to my car, and I saw it was in there. And then I opened my car and I grabbed it, and nothing happened. But it got me to thinking, leaving a phone in a car is a pretty enticing thing. Someone might want to steal it because it's like right there.
Right.
You can just look in the window and see it. So, put a fake phone in there. That way, if anyone breaks into your car and smashes the window to get it, they're not taking your phone.
Yeah, but you still get your window smashed.
Yeah, but at least they're not taking the phone.
That's like the Mark Rober videos where you do like the glitter bomb packages.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going more for a Frank's Pranks vibe.
They get in there and just go, oh man, and they leave. And then you just have a broken window and a disappointed thief.
Kind of like the whole go into the drive-thru, spend like a shit ton of money, and then just drive away. Like, what are they going to do about it?
After you pay, yeah. And they're just like, what? Okay.
But yeah, that's my Breeeeg ruse. I don't know. Still workshopping that.
Pretty good. That'll be a good prank on him.
And that is the one bit that I said. That's all I had.
That's awesome.
I guess speaking of guerrilla marketing, there is this, the new like closed beta game, Deadlocked.
Yeah.
Which you've seen some of us playing in the Discord.
Begrudgingly, yes.
And the way that game was coming out was they sent a select couple of a select group of people like invites to play their new game.
Right.
And then as soon as the game opens, it's like, this game is in early access beta. Like, do not share anything about this game with anyone. and then you could click OK, or you could just skip hitting OK. And they were very much like, don't post about it anywhere, don't you can't stream it, you can't screen record, you can't do nothing. And I think that generated some hype.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think people got more interested in the game because you were actually being restricted from knowing things about it. When they finally dropped the embargo, it got really popular. It seems to be popular right now. It's still in early access, but
it's like the same idea of trading cards if it's rare, but it's just actual knowledge. Not everybody gets to have this, so it's ooh, you get to keep it on your shelf for a little bit. Can't tell you what that is. Don't ask. What are you playing right now? New game. Don't worry about it.
You can't know anything about it.
Right.
I'll get in trouble. They will come to my house.
They'll turn off my computer. They'll take it. They'll tell my mom on me. I'll get grounded.
But yeah, there was I think it was The Verge or something like that. Some publication just didn't click OK on the do not talk about this thing, and then
We're
they
not
posted
legally
about
bounded.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they still got their access revoked,
yeah.
But they did post an article about it ahead of time, and that also probably helped Steam or Valve a good amount,
Yeah.
to have one article about it and then take away their access, I guess, because you're trying to make sure you enforce your policy.
Yeah, who cares though? They're reporters. Probably don't care that much about actually playing the game.
Yeah. Which is, I guess, an interesting thing to think about. How, because I mean, we've seen a lot of people have talked about how gaming journalism was not necessarily in the best state for a good while.
Yeah.
Just no matter what, you'd pay the publication to give you a good score, which isn't really a rating.
Yeah, especially with the Madden games, it's been really bad.
Because it's just it's the new Madden. 9.
Right. Exactly. 8.5 out of 10. The graphics look great. New animations, whatever. People who don't even know how to play football, let alone play video games about football. People don't play video games, period. You think these are football fans?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking losers. Yeah. Yeah, I have something I've wanted to do for some kind of maybe podcast segment is I have a stack of Game Informer magazines. I don't know if I've told you about them, but they're all from every month from 2002 to 2004, something like that. It's a stack of 50 of them, and it's just wild to go through and see the blast from the past of what were the upcoming ones and what were getting huge features that ended up either not even coming out period or being huge flops.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Jade Empire. I don't know if you even know what that game is. So right when Bethesda acquired the Fallout IP, it was right around the time that they were going to release this new, amazing open world game with huge quests, and it was going to be set in this, I think mystical, vaguely Asian background setting, very Shaolin, and it just completely flopped. It was one of their biggest things. They had a whole page spread. They had so much, thing about it, and nobody gave a shit. Fallout 3, this other game that they had picked up and were kind of thinking it's a paragraph mentioned in the same, issue. The biggest game Bethesda's ever released. It's just weird to see how much they must have had to have pivoted. Oh shit, Jade Empire was who are the Fallout guys now? Hey, remember Fallout?
Yeah, I mean, also I think there's more eyes on on gaming companies nowadays, where back then they could just sweep it under the rug. It didn't sell well. Okay.
Yep.
We do have other things cooking because we aren't it doesn't take 5 years to get even something resembling a product anymore, or back then. But now it kind of does, and a whole bunch of layoffs and stuff like that within the industry. Nowadays it's just Concord. It's just the thing that keeps on sticking in my mind.
Yeah, that's what came to mind when I thought about Concord when it was big failure. I was just wow, that's kind of I remember the Jade Empire of Bethesda, but they were able to they had so many irons in the fire, they just kept trucking through it. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
We got this new, turned out to be Game of the Year basically for Fallout 3. Did it win Game of the Year that year? It might have.
Oblivion won Game of the Year. Skyrim won Game of the Year. I'm not too sure about Fallout.
I'm gonna
Did I
look
tell
it
you
up.
about how like Fallout 3? I like heard about it and I thought it was really cool.
Mhm.
But like I was like, you know, it's like a fairly new game, so I'm gonna go into the GameStop and I'm gonna ask for Fallout 2. Which is vastly different. The guy was like, "Are you sure that's what you're asking for? Not Fallout 3." I was like, "Yeah, you know."
Yeah, well, I want to learn. You know, I can't play Fallout 3 yet. I gotta play Fallout 2 first.
Yeah. And he basically was like, "You're probably looking for Fallout 3." Plus, like, I was looking for it for Xbox 360.
Yeah, no, that doesn't exist on Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Fallout 3 at the 2009 Golden Joystick Awards won Ultimate Game of the Year.
Oh, nice.
It did. It is also the reason that Matthew Perry was the voice of Benny in Fallout New Vegas, because he loved Fallout 3 so much.
Oh, that's cool.
I think it was he famously gave a copy to it was Ellen DeGeneres or some like talk show host, because he came on just being like, "This is what I'm doing when I'm not like acting, it's playing this game."
That's
This
cute.
game is the best. Yeah, it's super cool. Rest in peace, Matthew Perry. Even though as people want to give him a so-so, grade on his voice acting for the video games, it's one of his first forays into video game and being an actor coming into that. I think he still did a very okay job.
I mean, like, Benny's a very memorable character.
He is.
You know?
And he's a hard note to hit. He's that, like, post-apocalypse, but then also coming back into the pre-war, so he's got all like that he ain't no Fink dig kind of lingo to him, so, like, it kind of stands out to begin with, and it's kind of not supposed to fit in. So I feel like it plays into part of it, you know? I like it.
So I only ever played through Fallout New Vegas once, and Fallout 3 once, but my Fallout 3 run got cut short because I got trapped into the room where they gas your dad to death.
Oh, you got stuck in there, yeah.
Yeah, because he was the quest marker, right?
And you
You're
just
supposed to-
ran all the way in, yeah.
before they closed the door, and then I saved, and it's like, when the fuck's the last time I saved?
Oof.
So I quit. But New Vegas, I just remember, like, you gotta go all the way into Caesar's Legion to find Benny if you, like, don't, like, kill him early.
Yeah, you gotta go to the fort. If Caesar invites you there, if you're not, like, super hostile towards him, even if you are, you can get there. You just can't bring your companions, the ones that hate Caesar's Legion.
Yeah, good old Boone, which very reasonably does not like Caesar's Legion.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy, though. I enjoy reading a lot of, especially like the fan. I don't know if it's exactly a theory, because I don't think the New Vegas developers have come out and said it outright, but how they said Boone is very much autistic coded, to where like he speaks in like very short sentences, doesn't really have any kind of like social awareness. He tells you himself like never really know what to say when I'm around people, but like with his wife that never mattered, which is why he fell so in love with her. Super cool. He's a very well written character.
Yeah.
From top to bottom. I love Craig Boone.
Yeah. I find that like it's a lot of like publishers won't like come out and say that like a certain character is autistic or whatever, but like a lot of autistic people end up just identifying a lot
Right.
with characters like that, and then so it becomes sort of like a retroactive label.
Yeah.
Which is still cool to see, you know, especially like I maybe like nowadays we may be missing something like that of people not really intentionally like putting a label on it, something like that, and just sort of like writing a character that ends up resonating with people in certain ways, when you know it might be a little bit more in the forefront of the creator's mind nowadays.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's interesting the way you say that too, because another one of the characters that I really resonated with a lot in New Vegas was Veronica. She was one of my favorite companions aside from Boone, just being like the melee companion, the girl who's just all about running up and punching people and being so ecstatic about it. I love her personality, her voice lines and jokes. And one of them is this, you get to ask her about if she's ever been in love. She goes, yeah, I was once, but she had to move away. And it's just like, just a side mention that, oh yeah, also she's gay. And it's like, oh, all right, it's a really like it's honestly even made me not relate to her, but like kind of like her a lot even more, just because it's like it wasn't even a huge part of your character, but it was just something that they were able to write in so like beautifully and have her be a part of it. It's just, oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense for you, and it's great. I love Veronica so much. Her and Boone were my two that I couldn't like switch between. The original reason I got the multiple companion mods was to have them both around.
Oh, that's cool.
They're so funny.
I also never got the DLC for that game, but with the DLC, you can have a total, like, you have your companion, you can bring the dog, and then you can bring a robot, right? Like one of those little drones.
Yeah, you get to choose between the robot or the dog, and then in one of the DLCs you get an extra robot.
Oh, okay.
But you don't ever get to bring your companions in the DLCs.
Oh, okay. Can you bring the robot out of the DLC?
Sort of. So the robot you get in the DLC is the actual like base robot of the robot in the game. So Eddie is like the robot you find in Prim, you repair him, and then you go in the DLC and find like his base model. It's where like everything that Eddie is in the game is downloaded from this guy. So as you upgrade him through the DLC, everything gets re-uploaded back to Eddie in the base game.
So you can't bring the physical robot back.
But you bring all his data.
He basically has one brain copied into two separate places. Okay.
And he's the same, and it's a weird thing when you find him because you're like, wait, you're Eddie? Are you my Eddie? And he just kind of like, it's the smarter you are, the better you can understand his beeps because that's all he talks in. But he basically just tells you like, oh yeah, we're the same kind of linked mind. He's over there. I feel him. And we have the same kind of memory, so I know who you are. And you're like, all right, cool. Well, come on with me, bud. Let's go, Eddie.
Yeah.
You get to learn about his past and how he used to have a little child companion that he longs for still.
Isn't Eddie like the literal president or something uploaded to a robot?
No, in Fallout 3, John Henry Eden's the president.
And he's
a robot, yeah. And the Enclave has little iBots that just go around the wasteland playing his messages, but Eddie's
same type of robot though, right?
Yes, exact same. Eddie is one of those iBots that got hacked specifically. You learn a little bit more in the DLC too. Like his creator loved him so much and thought him more than just a robot because he has feelings and all these things. So he transmitted him specifically to go from Navarro all the way to, I think, Chicago. And you get a funny moment. What's a Chicago in Fallout New Vegas? Because it's gone in that universe. Nobody lives there. So like nobody knows what that is. But in the original press material, like the original trailers for Fallout New Vegas, where you see the iBot just strolling along and getting shot, that's Eddie. And you find like in that DLC you hear his side of that press material of him just walking along playing a song, then bullets hit him and he crashes, and you're like, wait a minute, I've heard that before. That was the first thing I ever saw about Fallout New Vegas was this exact like voice line. It's kind of neat.
That is cool.
It all comes full circle.
And it doesn't have to be like a super important thing. I mean, like realistic, like he's strolling along, he gets shot. It's completely inconsequential because you end up finding him and making him unshot.
Right. It's right after that you find him in Prim. Yeah.
But it's like a cool little, the fact that it actually is like it's something in the promotional material in like an RPG game. Like there aren't too many like set in stone things.
Yeah. It makes the world just feel more alive and like amalgamous. It makes it feel a lot bigger than it is. Mm-hmm. That's something one of the developers, I don't remember which one on Fallout New Vegas, like famously said of how he made the world so big of just, he made so many different one-time off things happen that kind of connected to each other that people just connect everything else in their mind and it's just, it seems so big. Even though like this one time, because you picked up a Sunset Sarsaparilla Star bottle chip, Malcolm Holmes comes and follows you and then eventually talks to you about it. It's like, whoa.
It scared the shit out of me when that happened.
Hello there. Almost mistook you for a raider, I did. Fucking Malcolm.
I also remember a quest in New Vegas where you need to, like, you find out that someone is, like, operating a bottle cap plant.
Yeah.
And that's basically forgery of currency.
Yeah, and the Crimson Caravan Company asked you to go shut it down. Yeah.
But is it really forgery of currency? It's kind of like finding the U.S. Mint and being like, well, no one's running it.
Right. That's the thing. They tell you specifically that bottle caps exist as a currency because there is a finite amount and there's no way to make more. So if there is a way to make more, then that'll essentially crash the economy. Potentially, if no one controls it, because it's, out there in the wasteland. You can't exactly like go out and conquer places and keep like, things like that. You have settlements that are just kind of closed, and because that's the easiest thing to defend. Like the Crimson Caravan Company has all those brick walls around them. They're not keen on leaving those brick walls. They don't want to go out and try to settle that bottle can plant. They'd rather just destroy it and not worry about it.
I wonder what options you had for that one.
Just destroy it. You can't use it at all.
That's stupid.
Yeah, Fallout New Vegas was the pinnacle example of being plagued with a short development time. That's why there's so many cool quests for the NCR, but like 4 for the Legion. It's unfortunate. You can do the Legion playthrough, but besides the main quest, there's like 4 side quests, which isn't cool. You know, you get the NCR, you have Camp McCarran, you have Bitter Springs, you have Camp Forlorn Hope, you have Camp Gulf. You have so many different things that are all quest hubs. Like there's 5 or 6 quests in each one of those. It's just like, basically you're kind of steering me to be a good guy, which I get you'd want to do for a video game. Like make sure you have the good guy part done first, but some people want to be a bad guy.
Yeah, I don't know. The Legion is like bad though. You
Yeah.
know, it's like not
redeemable bad at all. It's
not like 2 sides of a war, you know. There's no right or wrong. It's like, oh no, they're wrong.
They're the wrong.
It's pretty bad.
Right. The NCR is also like wrong and bad, but very much
what they
less
did to
so.
the Great Khans was pretty bad, but it's like nowhere near what the Legion is doing.
Right.
Oh my god.
They don't try to do it, and then like what they did to the Great Khans, the whole massacre at Boulder City. They don't try to do that, and then are proud of doing that. They look at that as like oopsie mistake. We don't talk about that because we're so embarrassed. Which the Legion would be like, yeah, we enslaved those guys. What are you talking about? We got like 30 slaves.
Yeah.
It's sweet. The coolest part of the Legion playthrough, though, is the Arizona Killer quest, where you have to actually assassinate President Kimball. You get to do the other side of it instead of trying to keep him safe.
Remember seeing that, yeah.
Super fun trying to figure all that out, because there's so many different ways to do it. That's the one part they actually put a lot of work into. There's like so many different things to explore, to like find out. It's cool. You can plant a bomb. You can go and get a disguise and try to get up close to him. A lot of ways.
There's also that one quest that is so legendary, the like plant vault.
Oh yeah, it's Vault 22.
Yeah, the one where it's like you got multiple quests that end up leading you there, and it's like it's not that hard to find.
Yeah, it's like overflowing with vegetation, and the people there got like vegetation in their lungs and turned into plant people.
And then you get the decision where it's like, oh, I'm gonna delete like all the information on how to like do this because it's so fucked up here. And I ended up like being like, nah, like I'm gonna.
The NCR is gonna do it right. They got this.
Like, I mean, there's also the data of how they fucked it up, right?
You would think.
Like,
yeah, you could only hope.
We kind of need veggies. Like, we kind of got to be able to do farming again.
We got Harold in Fallout 3. It's, there's something.
I don't remember Harold.
He's one of the only recurring characters throughout all the Fallouts. In Fallout 1, he's a ghoul with a little tree sprout on his head. In Fallout 2, the tree is getting a little bigger. It's like a whole bonsai and starting to grow into his face. And in Fallout 3, he's a whole tree. And he's rooted into the ground. And there's just whole big vegetations around him. And there's a cult of people that follow him and are like, oh, he's the great tree master. We must obey his every command. And you go and talk to him. He's like, yeah, all these weird people are around here. I guess they really like the trees. I keep telling them to go away, and they keep calling me tree master and saying that it's part of... I don't know. Listen, I just want to die. It's just...
I never saw that guy in the game, but on like the internet, I did see a video of someone launching a mini nuke at a tree with a face.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, well, that's...
I mean, he's literally asking for it.
He
He's
specifically
like, "Please kill
says,
me."
do not burn me, though. That would be the most painful way to go.
I don't think a mini nuke is burning.
It does an explosion, so I feel like, at least in the game, that would probably cause some
Explosions are much faster than burning.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, though. He tells you, like, because of the tree grew, like, all his organs got spread out throughout the roots. So you have to, like, if the humane way to kill him is to go down to his heart and just, like, poison him, and it just kills him slowly. But yeah, he says, like, he just has root systems of, like, himself growing all throughout the wasteland. So you can choose to leave him alive, and then the wasteland will start regrowing, but at the cost of his immortality. He's just going to go insane as the only living tree. And these cult people just being like, yes, we understand you, master. He's like, no, shut up and kill me.
Very, I don't know, Life of Brian coded.
Yeah, pretty much. I am not the Messiah. He is the Messiah. Yeah, but Harold can regrow the wasteland. He'll be fine. We don't need Vault 22. Vault 22 can go to hell.
Unless you did blow him up.
Yeah, then we're probably going to need that.
Yeah.
That's another thing that comes up in the New Vegas DLCs. We're just going to keep going on it because I can talk about New Vegas forever and a day. But in the Zion DLC, you can go and find, like, there's these terminals about the survivalist, this guy who was, like, one of the first people to come and settle Zion right after the bombs fell. And he talks about people who came with 22 jumpsuits on. He didn't know what a vault was. But he sees them show up, and they're all coughing and whatnot. They got sickness because they're going to start turning into plant people, but they don't know it yet. Mm-hmm. And there's just all these crazy fucked up things of like, oh, I found them. They, the people from Vault 22, like, found a crashed school bus of people who were, like, just from the bombs. And they started rounding them up and taking them as slaves. And the guy's like, all right, well, I'm just going to watch over, make sure they don't do anything untoward. And the next entry is just, they ate them. They fucking ate them. Oh, man. It's just, oh my God. And then you just see the next entry is like, well, got revenge for all those motherfuckers. He just went and killed them all after that. And then became like, he wanted to make sure he didn't, like, after that, because he felt so bad about, like, everything that had, the whole thing. He tried to be a non-scene savior to them, where he'd, like, leave them supplies, but then, like, go away, because he didn't want to, like, interact and get, like, I think it was he didn't want to get attached to him because then he'd eventually lose him or whatnot. Something like that. I don't remember the whole story of it. Very cool one, though. If you ever look up, I think it's called The Survivalist Story. There's a whole good, like, video essay about him. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Humans actually have a bad reaction to cannibalism.
Oh, they isn't there parasites in human, what you call flesh, potentially, if you don't cook it right?
I don't even think it's that. I think it's just something else, like, if you eat a human, like, it's just going to make you sick.
I thought it was something to do with the what you call it, the uncookedness. You could possibly get, I don't know if it's like trichinosis or whatever that parasite is you get from eating raw pork.
Maybe. All I know is that it's kind of cool that there's some type of biological thing going on where we're not supposed to do that.
Kuru is a rare, fatal brain disease that was caused by cannibalism in the Four People of New Guinea. It's a very rare disease. It's caused by an infectious prion found in contaminated human brain tissue, specifically. So I guess not all human flesh, just the brain, if that's what you're thinking of.
I guess, that's the closest thing to what I'm thinking of.
I was going to say, there's been cannibals all throughout history, and they've been fine.
Still pretty fucked up, though.
I'm not going to advocate for cannibalism. I think
it just feels like not good for society, and like we do kind of like have evolved to create society.
I will say that it's probably not good for polite society, but I will also say that we just pump all of our dead bodies full of chemicals and throw them in the ground to do nothing but rot. That's a lot of meat we're letting go to waste. Why don't we put it in the ground to nurture the soil, or maybe it could be done with something. I don't know. I'm just saying we're getting a lot to waste.
They do have, there are like services where it's like you'll be cremated and then put into the soil of like a tree and it like has like a bag thing underneath it, and then you can plant that tree, and then like you're directly nourishing that tree.
Dude, have you heard about like the scam that is funeral services though? You should look into it, because there's like certain things, even if you get cremated, you still have to pay to be like embalmed and everything, like taken care of to that degree if you weren't. I don't know if it's everywhere, but it's one of like the things of a standard practice. Like I'm sure there's people like, especially for the tree things, they probably have their own things that they're willing to do, but there's a lot of like state mandated practices. They're kind of like, why is that a thing that's mandated? It seems like I'm just spending money for no reason then, especially if I'm going to get cremated. Why is there not just put me in the furnace and pay the electric bill for however long it takes to heat me, or whatever the fuck, like whatever the operating cost of the furnace is. It should be just that, you would think, right? But it's not. It's sketchy. Yeah, I'll do a little bit more research on it so I can speak more verbosely for the next episode, but I've looked into it a couple different times before and seen a video essay on it. It is not the best.
Maybe
it's one of
there's
those.
a market solution for this. How much money can you put down on a furnace today?
That's the thing, though. You'd think it'd be a market solution, but that's what I'm saying. Apparently, it's like mandates to where like you can't own a funeral service or do that kind of thing unless you do that. So I don't know if it's like where the money's exactly flowing in my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory here of big funeral, but I don't know where exactly the money's ending up, but it's going somewhere. I'll definitely look more into it so I can bring a bit more evidence to the table. I've only seen and heard about this tertiarily and just been like, yeah, that makes sense.
Fair enough. I mean,
seems like it's a
but
racket.
See, like the whole embalming thing, like I feel like that wouldn't make sense if you're going to be cremating for the purpose of putting it like in like a tree, you know.
Part of the video essay that I remember was just a lot of people going over a lot of like personal testimonies of stories, like of people talking to the camera and being like, yeah, I didn't want, you know, the gross practices of a funeral because they had very like particular things about seeing like a body dressed up in makeup and stuff like that. Like they just that's gross, that's disrespectful to the body in their mind. So they're like, yeah, let's just go straight to the cremation. And still they had to get like a corpse viewing of it embalmed and makeuped up and everything, and they were just so taken aback, and that's kind of what kicked them down the rabbit hole of, you know, going to this person who made the video essay eventually.
Well, I bet there's no laws against. If I'm at the end of my life, I'll just crawl into the furnace myself.
Throw me in the trash.
Yeah.
Frank Reynolds style.
There was I saw a sign on the way here. It was like, "Don't be a tosser. Choose a trash can," or something like that.
What?
It made me think of you. It
Oh,
was like
is
a
it like
sign
on the highway?
Yeah, you know the ones
yeah.
that are like that tell you like how many deaths happened on the road or whatever.
Yeah, they always have some shitty pun up there, like it's not, or what is it, like the pizza's gonna be ready, put down the phone or something like that. Don't text about it. They always have like some weird like trying to joke they make with that. Put down your phone, buckle up.
Well, there's like jokes
Get
for
ready.
that, like for the, you know, the tool tips, I guess.
Yeah, tool tips of life. Yeah.
And then there's also periods of time where it'll just be like 3,000 people have died on the road in Illinois this year. Don't become another one.
Yeah,
Like,
don't be a statistic.
So, yeah, there's a couple different ways they go about it. But yeah, it said choose the trash can or something like that, and I would have taken a picture of it, but I was driving. It would have been
Choose
good.
the trash
We could have
can.
posted it somewhere. Put in the corner of the stream. Yeah, did you ever end up cutting more time off of your Fallout New Vegas speedrun?
No, I put that
Dying.
I took that to the back burner for a while. My Sunset Sarsaparilla percent. I set the world record on that, got a pretty good under an hour time. I was happy with it. I think it was like 35, 36 minutes. I'll go back eventually. But I'm standing alone atop that mountain.
Yeah, I'm interested in trying to. I never done a speed run of a game where it was like you gotta. I want to do something not to the level of like minimum A presses, but a couple tricks like you know, backwards long jumping for an hour. You know, I want to do like one thing like that in an entire run. You know, I want to do some silly ass glitch. So like in Elden Ring, the way they calculate fall damage is they mark the point where you leave the ground, they mark the point where you land on the ground. The point where you land on the ground is that much lower than where you left the ground.
Yeah.
So if you use some type of like super jump glitch to launch you upwards onto higher ground,
Right,
even
then
if you vastly overshoot it, when you eventually land, you're not going to take any fall damage.
Huh.
Because your initial point is below where you end up.
Right.
So
Huh. Have you heard of, since we're talking about Fallout New Vegas so much, the revolver flying? That's a pretty easy one to pull off.
is it making me think of like plate jumping or like plate clipping or something
Sort
like
of. It's not exactly as finicky as that. So what it is whenever you have the ammo type that you can switch, I think it's either for 357 revolver, because that's the easiest one, but you can also do it with cowboy repeaters and whatever ammo you can just click in and switch single load bullets. Whenever you start doing it, I believe it starts like stocking up your momentum. I think it's either while you're jumping, if you do it, it'll like keep your forward momentum while you're changing, so that if you, as soon as you stop reloading, all that forward momentum that you did, store up in that time, just launches you forward. So if you see Fallout New Vegas vanilla speedruns, literally just get a 357 and click, click, just keep flying across.
That's so cool. I want to do something like that. It just
It's
seems
not
fun.
super hard to pull off. Even on like controller, people are able to do it. So it's something you can look into. It'll be fun.
And the thing is like it doesn't. I feel like there's a good portion of speedrunners that are like, I love the game and stuff like that, and I'm sure that people that do that feel that way about the game. But I don't think that like doing these like crazy clips is that much of an expression of love for the game. You know,
Yeah.
because like you're basically not even playing the game.
I get what you feel, especially with like wall clipping and plate clipping with like Skyrim and stuff like that, where you just clip to the end zone of games. It's just like, okay, well, are you even really playing the game at that point?
Yeah, I mean, there's a classic Oblivion one where you, specifically PS3 Oblivion, where the paintbrushes don't fall, and then you can make a staircase out of those, and you jump into the center thing, and it just brings you to the final cutscene, and you win.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not really experiencing Oblivion.
Or like Pokemon, where you code to the end of the game within your starting house. You just walk out the door into the champions room. It's like, and Pokemon done. Doot doot.
Yep. Team is level 5 Bulbasaur.
Not even.
Like,
It's before you even get to Professor Oak.
Oh, then it's just missing now.
I think it's just that missing though. I think it's just like glitches. That's awesome though. Ugh.
So, I mean, I guess if you can just make it into that room, you're the champion.
Yeah, that just triggers the cutscene.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, in like game world, but like, I mean, the way that everyone treats you, it's just like that's more of an accomplishment.
Well, the only way you can make it there is if you have the badges, usually. So if someone just falls through the ceiling in there, that's, you know, Master Oogway, there are no accidents.
Yeah.
You're the champion now.
Take that, Gary.
Yeah, you just fall like behind Gary. He's like, wait, what? And then he's just getting inducted as champion. He's like, what the hell?
Smell you later, loser.
Yeah, right. He spent his whole life being a Pokemon trainer, and this kid with no Pokemon shows up. That'd be good. Smell you later, Gramps.
I have so this weekend, in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, they're doing the Global Challenge, which is basically it's just an online competition. You know, you go and you do your battles and stuff like that. On Friday, I ended up doing 15 out of there's 3 days, and each day you can do up to 15 battles.
Okay.
And I did my 15. I got a record of 10 and 5. Felt pretty good. I was ranked like number 280 or something like that.
Oh, cool.
And then I looked into it and found out that I registered myself to the division for minors. So I haven't really been trying to finish it because like that also kind of makes a lot of sense as to how well I'm doing.
You're literally playing against kids.
Yeah, I'm literally playing against kids. Like, and some of those wins are just straight up like, oh, they only brought like 4 Pokemon total in their thing. Like, you only bring 4 into the battle, but you have a team of 6, and you look at the matchups and you decide which 4 you're going to be bringing in.
Right.
But they like only had 4 in the first place, so it's like, okay, I know what they're going to do, and like, they're not. Yeah, I just know exactly what their plan is, and I can just fuck that up instantly.
Picking on the kids. Easy wins.
I stopped. I only played a couple more after finding that out, but
Accidentally, he says.
well, I stopped. You know, I did feel bad beating up some kids. But this okay, but also like. I signed up for junior/senior division. Senior division is like 14 to 18. And then master's division is like
They
19
expect
plus.
you. Yeah, they expect you to be a master at this age.
And so senior division should not, I mean, I guess if you're talking like high school, like it would make sense, you know, senior division if it's like specifically seniors, but we have varsity for that.
Right.
So like, I don't know. It's pretty much entirely my fault, but they could have been a bit clearer on that.
Oh, that's good.
I do like my my tactic that I brought to it though, which is you get this one guy Torkoal, right? He sets the sun as soon as he enters the field, and you got this other Pokemon Lilligant. So first off, Torkoal's a turtle, obviously, the Doy. He has this move Eruption that does more damage based on how much health you have. You put Lilligant there. Lilligant is super fast under the sun and can use a move called After You, which causes, like, you target a Pokemon and then they take their move immediately after you use that. And so you target your own Torkoal with after you, he can use his super powerful move before he takes any damage. So, you know, they don't have that form of counterplay. They can't attack your Torkoal and slow it down.
Right.
Make it do less damage because you're making it move first.
Huh.
But a lot of people would try and like put up rain or something like that to also mess with the tactic, right? Because that could, like,
right, lower
lowers the
fire.
Fire moves. Lilligant has Sunny Day.
Clear up the rain.
I send them
Nice
both
try.
out, and they're like, aha, I'm going to switch in my Pokemon that has rain, and that's going to stop your whole thing. And then they send it in, and then I just use Sunny Day, and it's like, fuck you.
Try rain now.
And now you're out here in the sun, and I'm going
Are you
to
gonna
start
get
using my
torched?
moves.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. And that like sort of auto wins games.
Nice.
Which I also think is cool about Pokemon. Like, a lot of these games sometimes can just come down to turn one, and that's where it comes to like team building and stuff like that. You got to know the type of things that you're going to be up against, and then prepare for that. And because like the Lilligant Torkoal tactic is decently popular, right? And it's immediate turn one. Like, it's almost impossible to outspeed that. You're taking a lot of damage for it, and it's very hard to like do something to prevent that.
Right.
So you have to come up with counterplay for these types of things, otherwise you're boned.
Yeah.
So.
What else are you gonna do?
And then I have counterplay to the counterplay of switching in the rain setter.
Yeah, it's just becomes a switch fest after that.
Yeah.
Just going back and forth. Played enough Pokerogue. Whenever Ivy comes up, that's all she likes to do is just switch out for a super effect. So it's just bop, 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 bop.
Yeah, singles is also very different, but yeah, there's a lot more switching in singles. That's why stealth rocks and like spikes,
Right.
toxic spikes
Hurts them when they switch in.
That's how you're supposed to punish that and make it like less likely for them to do it. Especially because like sometimes Pokemon will have like a focus sash or whatever, so you hit them and then it takes them all the way down to 1 health. And if you have like spikes or something like that, they can't switch in.
Right.
If they do, they just die.
Right.
They step on a Lego. They go, ah!
Step on a stealth rock.
Yeah. Well, the stealth rocks are flying. They float around in the air.
Well, they like when they come out, they kind of like boom and pop up and then come down. So maybe the stealth rock gets underneath the foot.
Yeah. They're like everywhere.
Well, I think that should about do it for this episode of Cold Hard Trash, CRT number 17. Thank you
Works
for
for
joining
me.
us. If you enjoyed what you heard, please tell your friends about it. We would appreciate a little bit of word of mouth spreading.
Yeah.
And also give us a rating of 5 stars.
Yeah.
Because we're the best podcast in the world, and we know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or we will find you.
We have to surpass the Talk to a podcast.
This. Why do we shouldn't compare ourselves to
Complete
that?
competition.
There are direct competitors in
Yeah.
this space.
Just like how Eminem is our biggest fan.
I thought he was like our biggest enemy or something.
Yeah, but he's the only one that knows that much about us.
Yeah, that's right. To be our biggest enemy, he has to know a lot about. So therefore, that's
Yeah.
right. I'll see you next time.
Catch you around.